Live at Daytona International Speedway for our second and final preseason Thunder that is taking place here at Daytona. And I am being joined finally here by Kyle Keith. Thank you for coming with. And I'll tell you what, you seen in the first session how it went down. James Qualls shocked the field and shocked everyone that was watching. He was the fastest out of preseason Thunder, and it really shows maybe this new look could help out.
Maybe. I mean, he shocked us all. I mean, I was sitting down there in the press booth for the ESPN Speed World, and we see the James Qualls number go straight to the board, and we're just like, "Well, what the hell?" Excuse me. So yeah, pretty exciting to see James Qualls top that first session.
So we're going to go out to some of the cars that are out there on track and see if we can find the first one that's out there, and that would be Brett Pritchard in the 54. Now, I do want to ask this because you are, ironic enough, both your former teammates, Brett Pritchard, John Art, they are now a part of Meyer Racing Toyota, and Pritchard, one of his main sponsors, of course, being the ever popular Bang Energy. You know, Brett had his good runs and his bad runs. What do you think definitely has to be his strengths and his weaknesses?
Well, I mean, Brett, he's really good. He understands what to do on a plate track, and I know Connor knows that. He's shown in Outback when he raced. Yeah, he's got speed whenever he can show it. So me and Connor both talked to each other and said, "Hey, give me a couple sponsors. I'll give you two drivers." And yeah, the deal went through. So he's got two good drivers with John Hart and Brett Pritchard.
So as you see right there, Brett Pritchard definitely could make a big impact with Meyer Racing Toyota. Xfinity, he was actually in a really good run to battle for the championship, just fell a little short. Devin Becker, car 36, he had a rather all right return in his Cup Series return with the first preseason Thunder session, with Ream aboard on this one, of course, from the first session. One thing about Devin Becker, though, after that lackluster Xfinity Series season last season, this season he's glad to be back in the Cup Series, where he said, "quote felt like where he all belonged in his career." However, one thing for certain with Becker, like as previously mentioned, he definitely wants redemption and he wants to show he can make the chase. He had an opportunity 2 seasons ago at the Chase LCQ at Talladega. Unfortunately, well, as like they say, fell a little short and got into a little scuffle with Seth Cole. So I guarantee when those two are out together, well, that's going to be interesting to see right there alone. We're going to go backwards a little bit here. And there's Connor Meyer rocking off him and Phil Parker. Wow, they're all kind of not too far apart from one another, but Connor Meyer, Phil Parker. Start with Connor Meyer. Bring aboard Mobile One aboard his 51 for the season. Meyer, definitely a team captain. He finally got his moment of shine. He managed to finally win in both series, but now with the new rule that every driver that is out there, they can only compete in one series. A lot of people, when they were in the Cup Series, they stuck to the Cup Series. Very few downgraded and went to Xfinity, but Meyer, he definitely has to prove this season he is the real deal. That win at Chicagoland really helped out for sure, but you've known Connor for quite some time. You were shocked that he finally actually got it done this season.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Connor is really a determined guy. And well, him and Philip are actually racing pretty hard in testing. But yeah, he's a really determined guy, and he's so quick. You know that. So yeah,
Definitely for sure. And look at the times. Holy cow, look at that. With Devin Becker already shattering a 45.707 as you were seeing on the board. He has just got a lightning fast car. Speaking of his teammate, Phil Parker. Parker, well, this has been the interesting part. Rather lackluster season. Got a win at Armory over James Qualls. That was probably one of his big highlights. And on top of that, he made the chase via by the Chase LCQ as Quentin Moore's now cracked the top spot with the 45.63. But Parker definitely looking for a big rebound this season. Definitely needs to do really good. And we shall see what'll happen. Got a couple of cars right here. Johnny Gardner and Sky Commons. Johnny Gardner in that GMAC Teal Chevrolet for Evans Gardner Motorsports. I do want to ask this right off the bat. Do you think this is probably the new super team?
I don't know. I don't know. Now that we have a lot of big teams, it's kind of even itself out. Before it was, SKM and Meyer Racing were the big teams, and then you had what was then Seth Cole's team. I think it was Tweenix
Yeah.
with Poteet. They had a big team, but everyone's got a big team now, so I don't really think it's the next super team, but They got a lot of personnel over there. So yeah, they
John,
might be pretty good contenders this season.
Johnny Gardner in that 5 again, returned to Chevrolet. And he also brings along Quentin Moore in the 89, Kev Shearer, who acquired from Shearer Trigger Incorporated, and Zachary Fitzwater from Fitzwater Australia Racing to be in the 7. Going to be an interesting look for sure. Remember, Fitzwater is the champion from last season. Sky Commons, well, he's had an interesting offseason, I think it's safe to say. Last season, he did not get a win, but however, he did make the chase in the Cup Series, and to see Sky make the chase after leaving the 24, which definitely was a big shock, but he proved himself with a major amount of consistency. He was able to really shine. Now he's got funding with SKM. It's kind of funny if you think back too. His secondary driver Matt Dixon was a part of the team a couple seasons ago, and now here's Sky representing an EGM brand with his small team, and we're starting to see that now. Like the small teams getting some funding, which is a good sign.
It helps them out a big ton. I mean, they're able to excel and build up what they would not really have. So yeah, it's really nice to have big teams sponsoring smaller teams.
Looking through, there's Benjamin Miles, one of the new cars for Psyche Motorsports for the Cup Series. Keeps his Hertz sponsorship aboard from last season, driving the 43, and now here he is in the 2, which I'll tell you what, it is very weird to see the 2 in a Chevrolet this season, especially in the past. I want to say every season that we've had in the Cup Series, every season we've had in the Cup Series, from season 1 on down to the last season, the 2 has been a Ford. The last time it was a Ford, of course, Michael Walton was aboard. And now this season, part of Psyche Motorsports, in a Chevy, it definitely is already looking weird. I have a feeling during the times I'll be doing races, it's going to throw me in a loop. I'm going to keep saying Ford, but sometimes weird looks do help out, Warren.
Yeah, it sure does. And the 2 car being a Chevrolet, that's going to throw me off too when I have to do the whole Speed Week spiel. So I mean, I'm the one that designed the damn thing, and I'm still going to be messed up. So it's going to be interesting.
Don't forget, too, with Benjamin Miles, he is still looking for redemption after what happened last season in Xfinity. He came a little short in the championship to RJ Bishop. Ironic enough, both drivers, they are in the field and are in Speed Weeks and in the Preseason Thunder. So we'll see what Benjamin Miles in that Hertz Chevrolet. We'll see what he can do. Kyle Keith in the 42. Interesting to see what he can do. A part of that Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet. Definitely a bit of a struggle last season. Just could not get anything done right. Got involved in a lot of wrecks. Here in Preseason Thunder, when he was doing the first session, around middle of the field, which not too bad. He was helping along his sister Courtney Keith at the time, which is a really good sign right there. And Kyle, after race 19, he subbed out of Homestead, and Dylan Young took over for 10 races. Went a part of the finale, unfortunately wrecked. So hopefully he'll get some redemption for sure. Right now, 12th on the board. His last lap was his fastest lap right there, a 45.769. So we'll see what will happen with Kyle Keith. And, well, there's the man that probably a lot of people are keeping their eye on and seeing if he could repeat last session, James Qualls. The unsponsored number 70, all plain white car. Right now, 15th fastest. He's gotten a 3-car draft, but nothing too big right now.
He's in a pretty good pack right now. He's got 2 said Keith boys with him, and I don't think we're that quick, honestly. But he's got a quick car, and Benjamin Miles knows that, so he's going to go with him here.
We'll just stick with Qualls on this run right
rewind.
here. Now, thankfully, if we've noticed in the last couple of Preseason Thunder sessions we've had a numerous amount of wrecks. Well, also, if you've noticed, we're using a newer Daytona, which is Daytona Revamped 2009. For the past 7 seasons that we have ran, we have been using the 2011. Actually, my bad, the past 6 seasons, with the first season being the original Daytona, and then the 6 seasons during that tenure, we have used 2011, and now this season, 2009. And ironic enough, Qualls did run his fastest lap, but fell down a spot. Irony. And right now, Trent Dunham, look at that lap right there, a 45.051. I should go with a car that's out there on the track. Jeff James in the 20. In that Toyota Racing for Archangel Racing right there. Jeff James making his rookie debut this season aboard the 20, who spent 3 seasons in Xfinity altogether, 2 with the 54, and then 1 my memory is not serving me correctly. I know he spent 2 seasons 54, but I can't think of who else that he was in. Regardless, though, James will be making his Cup debut this season. This is a driver I've been looking forward to a lot because he has shown some good speed in those previous seasons in Xfinity. Can't wait to see what he's doing, especially with all of his sponsor lineup, including Snapple and IK9, that are definitely going to be 2 major sponsors helping out this team. Dylan Thoreau in that interesting number 4 right there. The 4 car coming back to the Cup Series for the first time since... Oh, we got some smoke up ahead. Or at least I thought there was. Maybe it's some dust, I'm not too sure. But Thoreau in the 4. Last time the 4 came back, that was Clint Spillman. So a couple seasons ago. So it's good to see the 4 come back out. Right now, 10th on the board is for Thoreau. He definitely has shown what he is able to do right now, all by himself for the time being, but that may change. He's trying to reel in Jeff James. We got a little gaggle of cars right here. Got Courtney Keefe, Kev Shear, and Diego Yepes. So let's start with the 40 of Courtney Keefe, which is what we're showing right here in that McDonald Chevrolet. Safe to say that 40 team is ready to go for this season. Right now, 7th in that McDonald Chevrolet. One thing about Courtney, had a really good run in that chase battle in the Xfinity Series, but kind of fell apart towards the end. And you noticed, Warren, when that happened, you definitely were keeping an eye on her a lot. You were definitely giving her a lot of pointers when you were starting out in the season. Then towards the end, you're really showing that veteranship right there.
She brought a brand new sponsor along with her, near the end of the season there, and that helped their confidence. And then, not to mention, like you said, the team was ready to go. They are ready to go. They were the same pit crew and everything that helped the 42 with Dylan Young when he was in the car. So they got some good, valuable track time. So yeah, that 40 team is definitely ready to go this season.
So we'll see what will happen when they take the green flag this season. Again, right now, 9th on the board. Diego Yepes, 7th on the board, making his Cup debut. And again, I still think this was probably the big risk for Bishop Family Racing, but they went for it. He only spent 1 season in Xfinity, and that was when he drove the 1. That was a couple seasons ago. And now here he is in the Mercedes, driving the Miller Lite AMG. Now remember the funny thing too with the 59 and the Miller Lite car, that was Zachary Fitzwater last season. He drove a Dodge, and now all of a sudden it's like the same car but just slap a Mercedes on it. Literally is the running gag now. Yepes right now again 8th on the board. The car kind of scared me right there, but that was Noah Hart right there. But Yepes, he's got a lot to prove. He's got to prove the doubters wrong this season. And we've seen that before in the past. Sometimes the drivers get rushed up to Cup a little too quick and who didn't really have a lot of time in Xfinity. But what do you think of Yepes here?
Well, I know RJ and Bishop Family Racing, they know exactly what they're getting into. When he's coming to the pit road here, he had a couple bad races back when he was in the 1, wrecked a couple cars. And I think Bishop knows that. So he's just going to give him a shot this season, see where he's at. He's in the championship winning car from last season. So we'll see exactly what he can accomplish.
Speaking of drivers who want some redemption, Kev Shear, that is definitely one driver that definitely wants redemption from last season. Definitely had a very miserable run, but he just wanted to get back into the seat, try to get the feel for the car. But now in a big funding for EGM, this really will help out for sure. This is one of his sponsors that he will have aboard this season, which is Madison Group. And he'll be running that for a couple of races this season. He'll have his main sponsorships of Starcom Fiber, Sheets, and a few other sponsors as well in that double zeros. Wow, this whole pack's literally coming down pit road. But Kev Shear right now 3rd on the board. You can see that 45.762 was the last lap, but that best lap of 45.153 really showing some good speed right there. Jesse Turner in that 78. Well, it's good to see Turner in the series. He had a little bit of a lackluster run in Xfinity last season, but they know the funding with Affleck and definitely the popularity of Jesse Turner really arisen in the NRSL. And I'm actually kind of surprised they rushed him up to Cup that quick, but I do feel like he is ready, though.
He's definitely ready. Jesse Turner, he knows what he's a household name in the Outback series, at least now. But, these cars, ooh, that's close. Especially on this track, that's close. But, these cars don't race like the Xfinity, especially this season. This season, if you're an Outback and you're moving up to Cup the next season, you're in a whole new ball field than, before where it was like COT, Gen 6, you can make a jump. This season, it's a good time to move whoever you need up so they don't get even farther behind.
True that. Jesse Turner, this will definitely be an interesting season to keep an eye on. We'll see if he shocks the world and wins the Daytona 500. And one driver, again, I was happy to see again last season, and here he is this season, Noah Hart in that Dairy Queen Chevrolet. That is probably a great sign to see. It has been 5 seasons since we've not seen that driver in any NRSL series, let alone the Cup Series, and here he is in that Dairy Queen Chevrolet making his long-awaited return. This will be something I'm looking forward to for sure. Flickinger Racing, they definitely know how to do these races really, really well when it comes to Daytona and Talladega or any other SS track. Noah Hart, we'll see what he can do. Right now, 18th on the board, not showing his speed. Who's the slowest right now? That would be Johnny Gardner, but we shall see what will happen.
Yeah, well, we all know that sponsorship might change again by the 500. So
True
we'll
that.
see if Noah Hart can keep Dairy Queen on board.
That is true. And here's currently the fastest car on the track, Trent Dunham, aka the man that hates Daytona with a burning passion. Well, primarily the Daytona 500. But right now, his speed is just going AWOL right now. Him and Devin Becker, they have got really fast cars, and we'll probably look at that best lap once the session is over. But Dunham, holy cow, that car is lightning quick in that Sega Vodafone Chevrolet. Now, originally, Segkeep Motorsports, if you've noticed, they originally were going to go to Mercedes. Then they had the thought about going to Dodge, and then they decided, oh, we'll stick with Chevrolet for one more season. So, big question marks with the team in the future, but for sure, the driver lineup just added a few people, a couple of number changes, slapped some sponsors on, and here they are. But the main two co-captains, Trent Dunham, Kyle Keith, you know they're going to be here for a long time to stay. As we look through behind, see if there's any others we have not covered yet. For the most part... and here we go, the Xfinity champion, RJ Bishop in that gear wrench Mercedes. Now, I forgot to mention, too, during the time when we were talking about Noah Hart, some sponsors are actually making their debut in the series. This is one of them, which is Gear Wrench. Dairy Queen was another one. If my memory serves me correctly, Bang Energy is also another one, as to... with another sponsor, but I can't seem to think of it. And it was just mainly in the Preseason Thunder session. But regardless, though, Bishop right now 5th fastest altogether, having a really strong car. And those Bishop family racing cars, remember last season how they were? They dominated the entirety of Daytona. They were the fastest in the Preseason Thunder. They were the fastest in the Bud Shootout and about winning the whole thing. Then they dominate the Speed Weeks with the duels and the Xfinity Series win. The only thing they missed is the 500. Do you think they say forget about all those races and go for the 500 to complete that the whole nostalgia for Daytona? Or do you think just go all out on everything?
We'll see. You know, last season they had a different program than what they have now. Mercedes is on board, their first time on board. So if it was up to me, I don't think they're gonna have the best speed weeks just because this is a brand new program with Mercedes. But we know he's capable of winning the 500. It's not the same track as last season, with the grip being a little bit lower with the asphalt aging. But who knows? He might have a shot.
We shall see what will happen again. 5th fastest, RJ Bishop. And here's the other one of the Segkeep Motorsports, now a part of Meyer Racing Toyota, aboard Zaxby's. And again, this will be, I'm going to have to get used to, is to seeing the 05 in a Toyota, John Art. One thing about Art, though, he definitely knows his Speedway program really, really good. But within those last couple seasons he's been a part of that team, he's just been involved in numerous amount of wrecks and just can't seem to get out of luck there. So John Art, going to have to prove also a part of Meyer Racing. He definitely wants to stay in this Cup Series for sure. Right now, 10th on the board is that 05. Seen a big pack not long ago, and they're still kind of together. And there's one of the other rookies a part of Archangel Racing, Tim Fiegel. Fiegel in that 95, he'll have aboard Bass Pro Shops. Let me look real quickly on my little thing here, because I know it's got all the sponsorships that's out there. He's also got auto owners, and I believe he has one other car as well, but for the moment, for what I see, he's got auto owners and Bass Pro Shops. Tim Fiegel, right now 7th on the board. You're actually about ready to catch up to Dylan Thoreau and John Art. Are these 3 cars? And Quentin Moore in the 89, back to a very familiar sponsor and number. Kind of no surprise that he's in that too. The Racing with Jesus Chevrolet, he'll have a blue, a purple, a red, a black and gold, and of course, for the 2005 theme race, a green 89, which definitely seems fitting right there. He's definitely RWJ out for sure there, Warren.
Yeah, he is.
I feel like Quentin is the Morgan Shepherd of this series. What can I say? However, one thing for certain about Quentin Moore, he did make the chase last season. He was the only one of from last season Gardner Racing cars to make it in, and he did it by the Chase LCQ as well. So kind of an interesting take right there as he's about ready to come down pit road, but we'll see if he goes for 2 in a row there. Him and James Qualls, they somehow have the best luck, and there are times the drivers who either don't do well in the standings or they'll do mediocre and they'll get in, but it seems they just do really good in those races. And Kate Anderson in the 3 and Ember Ross 77. Both the females battling. We'll start off with Ember Ross. That was the first one we seen right there. Ross in her second season in the Cup Series. The first one was kind of not bad. She took a win at 8 Bull, and then after that she kind of slipped off the slope. And of course got involved in, I think it was Ireland, that very vicious crash with Flickinger. So I guarantee you when we head to Ireland again, she is definitely going to want to forget about that one for sure and hopefully not get involved in that type of crash. But Ember Ross right now 21st on the board, not really trying to show her speed, just trying to basically get the feel again of these Toyotas. So, and well, that was a little bit of a dangerous move. But she survived it though nonetheless. Right now 21st on the board. And Kate Anderson.
Interesting 3-wide.
Yeah, that was. Kate Anderson, 4th on the board, the fastest, or the second fastest, I should say, of the Seg cars, the fastest of the females. Definitely showing her speed this time. Hopefully this is her good time to shine because, you know, she's known how to race Daytona. We've seen it in the past in the Xfinity and the last season she was in Xfinity. And, you know, in the Cup run, she did all right, but, you know, just because how crazy it was, it just couldn't avoid it. Right now, 4th fastest on the board. Oh, this should be an interesting pack to keep an eye on right here. We're going to follow with Trent Dunham in the 1. You got 3 Second Heat cars, a Johanna Atwood Motorsports car, and a DBI car. So, interesting take right there. Just going to stick with Trent Dunham, James Qualls, and all them and see if they can get the fastest lap. We're watching the ticker. A 5-car pack. This should shoot up some drivers, including that 42, into that top 10. Because I do believe we have now covered every one of the 23 drivers that have been a part of Preseason Thunder. Let's actually go on board with the Sega Chevrolet. See though with Dunham, I mean, he wanted to pass that 70, but that 70 is still sticking right there, and you know, we still got about another 12 minutes remaining in this session, so I guess we may as well ask you this, Warren, with the way how Daytona is. We did a test, and this package that they got for this track, it's going to be a crazy Daytona 500. I guess he kind of stepped away real quick, so we're watching here as I'll tell you what, they kind of have been not really moving their way up into that pack. Let's just see if we can go through the rest of these drivers that we may not have seen a whole lot of. And, oh, man, another 5-car pack right there. That'd be John R.J. Bishop, Dylan Thoreau, Sky Commons, and Connor Meyer right there. You got a battle with 5-car packs right there. And a 4-car pack right here of Anderson, Ross, Yepes, and Pritchard. Really hard to say who's going to really come out on top, but still all Trent Dunham being the top of the fastest, the slowest. James Qualls, wow, that 70, I'm actually surprised, is still in that 45.489. I thought within that pack he could jump up there, but he's leading that pack, and that's where you don't want to be if you want to get your time up. You want to be in that kind of rearish of the pack, and now the 70th call is making an indication of coming down pit road, and I'm very surprised he's doing that. But now those drivers are still in a 4-car pack. We'll stick with this 5-car pack, as now John Art is going to make an indication of coming down pit road. Now 2 4-car packs that are being made, and a 3-car pack not long ago you just seen. No changes really right there. Trent Dunham still the fastest car out there. Having a nice, solid run with that 45.051, shattering this field for sure. Just like how James Qualls did not long ago. And Courtney Keith making an indication of coming down pit road in that 40. So now it's going to separate to a 3-car pack. Now the laps are going to kind of get a little slower right there. And these drivers are going to stay out right here. Let's see if they can do any time right here. Anything better?
No.
There we go.
I don't think they're going to get better than. I don't think they're. Well, I had to go do something wrong.
That's all
but
right.
I don't think they're going to get quicker than Dunham's lap. Dunham's lap. I think if you remember, there was a 4-car pack ahead of him, and he was just behind them. And the pack of these cars, the draft is just ridiculous.
Yep. And speaking of Dunham and Devin Becker, right now, first and third is Yepes has jumped to second. Is that 59? That perfectly explains why. Look at, they're about ready to be a 4, nearly 5-car pack if Noah Hart can get up there. So while we got another 8 minutes, we could talk real quick about this package for this Daytona. This track package, when we took a look at it, we were just blown away with what these cars are probably going to be able to do once the Daytona 500 reaches, and even the NSRA 300, let alone speed weeks in general.
Oh yeah, this track is something wild. I mean, we're used to seeing the old, I call it the NRSL special, to where it's just 3x3x3 more. But this puts a little bit more of a emphasis on the driver than the 3-wide pack we used to have, because now the drivers can switch lanes mid-pack. They can get to the bottom of the racetrack, or they can move to the high side and block a lane if they have to. So you're going to see a lot more defending in this 500 than you used to see.
If you notice, too, at times, especially if we can get a good chance on one of the bigger packs, or at least battling right here, watch Quentin Moore in one of the Archangel racing cars. Now, you see 9 times out of 10, the inside line car would probably get the momentum and all. But at times, that high line, you can actually battle off those turns and can actually beat them off. I know right there, not really the case because of Tim Fiegel really powering that low line. But there's times where, if you notice in a bigger pack, as Anderson and Amber Ross coming down pit road, that high line is a pretty good line off of turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, not to mention, late in a tire run, that on the inside, they get just so loose on the inside, they'll lift just a bit, and that outside lane can start rolling. And off the corner, the outside line might be able to take the spot, which is something we have never seen, at least at Daytona in a while in this series. So, be interesting to see. And also like that, the crossover, that's back also.
That I can't wait to see. That's going to be really fun, especially when you have a really good finish coming to the line. That'll really come in handy. Well, that was a little bit of an interesting move there. That's John Art and Brett Pritchard, both the former Sega Keith cars, and getting a little too defensive. Something you really don't want to do.
Well, this will be a nice pack because you got Courtney, and I think that's Ross, or if I'm wrong. No, that's Hart, actually.
Yeah.
Coming up behind him, and see how quick they just suck up. I mean, it is ridiculous how quick they suck up in these cars.
Don't forget some of these drivers, too. They're, like John Art, hell, Noah Hart even. This is really going to help them out trying to get a good lap right here. The next lap will probably be that one to really solidify for sure. Kind of looking through here one more time, kind of just double check and making sure things are going to be A-okay. As Hart's going to come down pit road, surprisingly, there. He's only out for a brief moment. Now he's coming back down. We'll see if this pack can really shatter the time. And, it's kind of funny if you notice, too, the drivers that really need to move on up in that, in the intervals you're seeing, they're in the front of the field. And the drivers that are, up in the front of the intervals are in the rear of the field. Something that you notice right there a lot. Now, we got 5 minutes there before the session is over. And I believe I talked about it during the time, but we'll hear it from Warren's side too. But of course, if aforementioned, ARCA Series will be making a debut over on Warren's channel, which is the ARCA Series presented by Craftsman. Craftsman Tools, those will be run on Fridays. That will be on a selected schedule right there. That'll be detrimental with the NRSL series that is there for Xfinity and Cup. And then Xfinity and Cup has a major overhaul in the schedule. Normally, of course, we run Daytona as the opener, no surprise. But then race 2 onward down, it is going to be one of the biggest twists that's come around ever since creating the schedule in the very first season. It has now been changed. Next week after Daytona, it heads over to Chicagoland instead of Auto Club. And it's going to really throw people into a loop, but I can't wait to see how this schedule is really going to turn out. Other than that, some big race names coming along the way as well. Two throwback races that's there. An Atlanta throwback race and then a Talladega theme race, which is to 2005, like aforementioned. Can't wait to see how it'll be. And, of course, a West Coast swing that'll take place in the Chase and 2 tours that are taken by. An international tour that's going to head outside of the U.S. and outside of North America, and a Canadian tour. They'll have 2 races in the northern neighbors above us.
Well, I mean, we've seen this, 2 laps in a row now. John Art has just powered past the 3 cars on the inside on that turn 2. And, before he was by himself, and then that lap he was just by himself on the outside. So that right there shows you that outside line is really strong in turn 2.
So now they switch out Courtney Keith with RJ Bishop in the draft. And again, still Yepes second, but no one has been seeming to touch Trent Dunham. Yepes had a really good lap with that 45.115, but no one's been really coming close right there. But again, the big shock, James Qualls, first in the preseason Thunder of the first session, dead last in the second one. I mean, normally it is for the fun, and it really doesn't, determine a lineup, but it shows speed really can help out along the way. Qualls doing some tire service right there on the right side of the car. So far, that 70 team has been the big surprise. Going from the quickest to the slowest. Probably just wanted to show that they have that, what it takes to ready. And this one there, they're kind of just chilling back. Other than that, some other notables there. Diego Yepes in second. Kev Shearer, 4th fastest. I believe he also was in the top 5 or top 10 in the first session, too. So that's a good sign to see for that 00 team. Looking through, Tim Fiegel making an appearance in the top 10. Sky Commons making an appearance. And the same can be said for Kate Anderson in the top 5. About a minute 42 remaining. This would probably be a good time for drivers just to get those last laps in and just do what you can. But the one thing I do want to ask there, Warren, with this new season, how much do you think of an impact it's going to really change some of the drivers, knowing that some of the people who've been doing this for quite some time, the schedule changes and everything, it'll probably throw people a little bit off the loop.
Well, yeah, it's going to throw them off for a little bit loop, but you know what? Change is never a bad thing. And, when you think about change, it's going to probably be a giant wild card this season coming up. So we'll see. Got a lot of big changes, a couple notable changes once we get to that part of it in the secondary series.
Yep.
There's a big change there. But, like we said, change is not a bad thing. And Daytona, new package, that's just part of the cookie, if you want to call it that.
That's true. So about 40 seconds remain. So just like as mentioned in the first session, the drivers, when they cross the line, once that 0 reaches by, they're allowed to finish the lap that they have and then go from there. After that 0 and whoever crosses the line, basically that is that. And whoever runs out of time after that second one, it doesn't count. And whoever's the fastest from there, you will see. So as that time is ticking, you're kind of just seeing right by the line who's getting their last set of laps. It looks like these two are going to be good to go. I don't know about these two. They're really going to try, but I don't think they're going to have enough time. So Thoreau and Dunham, they're going to get the final laps in. Oh, wait a minute. Wow, they barely got there. So these two will be the last ones. In the meantime, that pack's just, they keep dying and dying. Kyle Keefe, Sky Commons, Kev Shearer, all completing their final laps. Connor Meyer all by himself. Anderson, just a little bit of a gap. Same with Becker and Tim Fiegel. Courtney Keith all by herself. And then these three, are they going to make a last-ditch effort to try to jump up on the time? Not at all. No one did. Jesse Turner. Crossing the line there. There's those two. And those two. And that'll be it. Trent Dunham, the fastest in the second session. Both Chevys. And they're really showing their stride. But the big notice is Mercedes jumping up the ladder to second fastest. I believe the fastest that was there in the first session was inside the top 10. But this is the highest they have ever gotten in the NRSL. So that is a great sign right there. So we are going to pause it right here. And we'll take a look at Dunham's lap in a bit. But there you see all the results taking play. Warren, some big names that are up there on the top of the leaderboard, and some other big names towards the bottom. Which one probably surprised you the most? One good and one bad.
I mean, it's kind of the old IHOP trick. You know, you go quickest in the first session, you're going to probably be slow as hell in the second one. And unfortunately, James Qualls, you know, he went from top of the board in the first session all the way down to the bottom of the session. But yeah, you know, Trent Dunham on the top of the board, you know, no surprise. You know, say S-Cam power, good at super speedways, but you're right. No, absolutely. It's amazing that Mercedes was able to jump up the second fastest there. Maybe they put on fresh tires and caught a pack at the right time. Who knows? And you know, good showing by the females in this session. You know, it's awesome. We're starting to get more and more and more into the series each season, it seems. And looking through this board, you know, good job by. We don't even have all of them in the session. You know, there's a couple more that are not even here. So really good. A couple notable here. Of course, someone's printing something right here. Kev Shear, fourth fastest. God damn it.
You gotta love it. Right on time, right? Oh, man. Yeah, Kev Shear, fourth fastest on the board, as mentioned. A good look for the EGM 00. Looking through, Brett Pritchard, seventh fastest in his new team. I think that was the highest he has been all in these two sessions. And Sky Commons, the same can be said for him in that 10th position. So before we go through the rest of some of the other drivers there, let's go take a look at Dunham's fastest lap right there in that one car. He set that early too. He was ready. You can see he was in that 5-car pack. Here's 45.222. And give me 1 second. Let's just go right over here and just go inside the cockpit and show you his view. So as you're with Trent Dunham, remember he just is about ready to hit the 45.222, and he's really in this pack really, really good. He's right up ahead of him. That is Devin Becker in the 36. You can see with the way how the font is in the back. You can see he's really using that draft and using the bumper really, really well, with not only his front bumper, but the back bumper of Devin Becker's number 36 DBI car.
It also shows you how rough this track is, man. They bouncing through those turns. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, remember, that's that helmet cam right there that you're seeing. Now watch, Pritchard got a good run coming off that high line, but this is where that inside line is really going to use a lot of power right here. So coming to that line, when you come to the finish, that's where you really want to be. You want to be in that inside line without a doubt. Then you're going to see Dunham right there. Boom. Well, that was a 45.385, but that 45.222 is really good. Now, remember, Becker was ahead at that point. And look at how close the intervals were at that point. That's pretty close right there. Just between the three. Let alone how fourth and fifth had tied at that point. That's scary to even see. Now Dunham is going to use that high line. And this is what makes him really good at Daytona. Outside of that 500, he just knows the track really well. He knows what line to use. And then look, ironic enough, there's his teammate, Kate Anderson. Moves to 36 up the track. And is going to use all that draft he can to catch up to that 3. And then right here, this is where he's really going to get that lap. And up ahead, that's, I believe, RJ Bishop in one of the Meyer Racing cars. I think that is Phil Parker. Look at that, 45.051. And see right there, he just had to check up right there because of those 2 slow cars. But what a lap that is right there alone, Warren. That just shows Dunham's experience in Daytona. It really is a good combo.
It's a real potent combo when you think about it. But to finish my thought, now that the paper is printed quite nicely, Kev Shear, yeah, good on 4th. But I'm looking through and Diego Yepes in at 59. Are we surprised that that's second quickest?
Yes, I would say so.
What is that doing, Young? What number is that?
That's Fitzwater's old number right there.
And who won the championship last season?
Zachary Fitzwater. Ironic enough, he's not in this session, but still,
But
I guarantee you.
My point stands that 59 team, they just moved over to RJ Bishop Racing, or Bishop Family Racing, whatever it's called over there. I'm not absolutely sure. But they just moved everyone over. I mean, they all know what to do. It's the same team, the same personnel. No surprise it's second fastest. That team last season, I think we said it was the only team to lead the whole chase.
That is correct.
From start to finish. Holy crap.
That's amazing.
So no surprise they're second fastest. What really surprises me is when you look back at the Connor Meyer Racing cars.
Yeah.
They didn't really show the best pace in session 1, and sure as hell didn't show the best pace in session 2. Now, I know they got a couple cars in the shootout over on my channel and through the duels, so we'll see what they can do over there. But man, they are not showing the pace unless they're running a little bit more downforce for later in the run. I don't know. We don't know yet. This is just preseason testing, so Philip Parker could win the whole damn thing. Who knows? That's the beauty of Daytona. Who knows?
And it really just shows that it is a true underdog track for sure, because those SSs, they really prove no matter who you are, small or big, whether on a big team or a small team, you could win that race, and it really could show. It could change a lifetime for sure as an NRSL driver. So, again, looking through these once more, other notables to keep an eye on for sure. Jeff James, had an okay run the first session, second slowest in this session with a 45.438. He was actually 500ths faster than James Qualls right there. Quentin Moore, 20th on the board. Jesse Turner, 18th. Dylan Thoreau, 19th. Some of the rookies, again, the highest rookie was Yepes. Slowest rookie was James. That was shown. Jesse Turner was definitely a big surprise right there. 45.352. Noah Hart, a 45.315. I think if my memory serves me correct with Noah Hart, he was towards the bottom in the first preseason Thunder session as well. So that kind of is a bit of surprise that he is where he is right now in the second one here. But nonetheless, though, Trent Dunham, the leader of this one, the fastest of the second session. What a job well done for that one team. SKM, they're ready to go. You could tell they've always had a good plate program, and it just shows when that 500 comes, they really want to win this thing bad. Because especially, I think it was not last year, but 2 seasons ago, they're definitely going to want some redemption. So we shall see what happens coming on by. And I guess because Warren is here, because of that now, I guess we could talk a little bit about ARCA. So without further ado.
Yes, the ARCA series. Absolutely fantastic. It will be on my channel. It will be ESPN the whole season, as well as through Speed Weeks for the Cup Series. It will be on ESPN Speed World. So the ARCA series, we have a bunch of new drivers who didn't make the cut in Outback and Cup. And we also have some Cup drivers who will be racing at the plate races only. And surprisingly enough, Dylan, those plate races will be Gen 4. And the short track and speedways will be the old Gen 6 cars that used to be used in Cup back from Season 5. So they got repurposed for some of the ARCA teams. So it's going to be a good season, really competitive season. I've been doing testing, and oh Lord, these races are going to be fun to watch. And, since I'm also on the topic of over there, don't miss the Bud Shootout and the Gatorade Duels over on my channel. So that's going to be interesting. And God, it's gonna be a good season. It's gonna be a really good season.
Yep, and of course, too, again, those will be on his channel, which is WKK3. And then, of course, when the Daytona 500 comes around and also the N-Series 300, that will be on my channel, and we'll go from there. An interesting twist they'll come on by. And again, as aforementioned, Xfinity is going to be over on the new mod that is coming out. Well, not the new mod, but a new mod that we're using for the season, and that is the Cup 05 mod. And the way how they run, it is going to be really interesting to see how that's going to be. The package there even looks just as crazier as this one. So we shall
And
see how that is going to turn out for sure.
not to mention that Outback Xfinity Series, a lot different than Cup when you think about it, a lot more international manufacturers, and it's mostly based off exotics. So you're going to see Corvettes, Nissans, I mean, Supras, the whole shebang over there. It's going to be awesome.
Definitely for sure. Well, other than that, again, as you're seeing them throughout that time and have talked about that season, the season shall be starting very, very soon. I'll probably put an update out in this upcoming month about when the Daytona 500 Speed Weeks are going to be coming around, which will be the Budweiser Shootout. And we'll go on there. And also, I almost forgot about Daytona 500 Final Practice, which I believe that will probably be on my channel too, because, of course, got to do all that stuff as well. But, of course, that is it for Preseason Thunder. The return of the NRSL is coming soon. Kyle, thank you for joining me in the booth once again. It's a pleasure to always have you on board. Can't wait to see how this season is going to go.
It's going to be good.
Well, for all the news stories that will take place, all the drivers that are taking place, this is your boy D Young signing off here from Daytona International Speedway, which is also the last video of the NRSL for 2019. We shall see you for the NRSL in 2020 in January for when the Daytona 500 drops. That will be for me and for Warren, of course, all the entirety of Speed Weeks, again, on the WKK3 channel. Please be sure to sub to that and check out the channel once those videos are coming on up, as they are always available and easy to see on Discord, and the tags can be there as well. And if you're watching on YouTube, cannot wait to see you there. Until then, again, this is D Young signing off here from Daytona. You've been watching production of the NRSL, where racing is living. We shall see you guys later in 2020.
Ah.